Vincent van Gogh, Pablo Picasso would have loved false color photography, otherwise known as infrared photography. Let's go. Hello everyone, Carmine from New York here, photographer since Richard Nixon was president. Okay, this is photo class number 379. You may or may not have known that infrared photography is known as false color photography. We're going to do something a little different with this video. We're going to jump right into the photographs that I took with this infrared converted camera. Let's go. All right, now that you've seen the images first, let's talk about it. This is a Nikon D60. It came out in 2008. It's a 10 megapixel CCD film-like sensor camera. It's a DX crop sensor camera. The ISO range is 100 to 1600. Now, the lens that's on the front is the Nikon DX. It's a VR AFS 18 to 55 lens. It's the G2 model. Now, that lens on this camera is very important. You're going to learn about hotspots. What hotspots are is a lens that's used on an infrared camera that's not compatible with infrared photography will give you a nice round cloud right in the middle of your photograph. No! That's called a hotspot. That means that that lens is not compatible with the infrared body of the camera. So let's just talk about this. What the heck is infrared photography? Well, you've seen the images. My favorite one is this one. What you would need to start off in infrared photography, you have several choices. The choice that I went with was the choice that I feel if you're going to try infrared photography is the way to go. Just hear me out. I bought this converted Nikon D60 on eBay. Now hold on. The cost was $270 delivered from the UK. Now the seller, he doesn't know I'm even shouting out his name. He did not give me anything. I bought the camera. His seller's name is Infrared Conversions. That's his seller's ID on eBay. He's from the UK. Now, the reason I went with that option is, first of all, 270, you're getting a camera. Yes, it's a used camera, but he's the professional. Here's what he had to do. He had to disassemble the camera, remove the hot mirror, which sits in front of your sensor, which blocks infrared light. He had to remove that and install a 590 nanometer filter. Now you have several choices. I like the 590. That's why I put it right on top of the camera so I know this isn't a regular camera. 590 nanometers gives you incredible colors like this. When you buy an already converted camera, you get a lot of help, especially when you're starting off. In other words, the seller will tell you you can't use auto white balance. You have to white balance on custom white balance setting. He tells you how. He sends you actually a 2-3 page instruction pamphlet, if you will. He also will tell you that with the camera that he converted, he tests all the Nikon lenses which will not give hotspots. And in this case, for the D60, this lens, which I happen to have, and probably most of you have it, the 18-55 DX VR, gives no hotspots, as you can see in this photograph. That's the way I went. I went with purchasing an already converted camera, even though you may say, oh, you have a lot of cameras already. You don't have an infrared camera, okay? It's a specialty. Now, there's other options, all right? The other option, which I also tried, was to buy a Hoya R72 filter, put it on the front of my regular camera, and the results are horrible. First of all, you need a tripod. You have 5-minute minimum exposures, only to realize that you're letting in infrared light so it can hit the hot mirror, which blocks infrared light. You will not be happy using the Hoya R72 or any filter on a regular camera. You won't be happy, okay? You're probably going to get a nice big hot spot in the middle, which looks like a cloud dead center on your photographs, all right? I don't recommend you do that. Save your money on the Hoya R72 filter, which is not cheap, all right? Now, there are other companies online that have point and shoot cameras already converted to full spectrum, okay? Here's the problem. You need a camera that shoots RAW. This camera, the D60, as well as the D3000 or the D40X, which are also sold on eBay by Infrared Conversions. That's the seller's name. They all shoot RAW, and you need a RAW file to edit your photographs correctly. Infrared photography will require editing. Now, I have made a separate video on all the settings when you do post-production. All right, I'll put a link in the description below to my other infrared photography video when I use this camera, all the settings about post-production. Okay. Number one reason you want to shoot with a converted camera to infrared is that you use regular exposures. ISO, all the photographs she's looking at now are ISO 100 on a bright sunny day in the summer. f8. Why f8? It's the sharpest aperture on any lens. And my shutter speeds, because I was an aperture priority, were 1/800th, 1/1000th, 1/500th, all handheld. You just take regular, beautiful landscape shots, handheld. No tripod. The leaves on the trees will come out crisp because you're not doing a 5-minute exposure where the wind just blows them around and it looks like a big blurry mess. Who is infrared photography meant for? It's meant for a person that loves the artistic side of photography. Okay, we discussed Van Gogh. Look at his landscape. And Picasso. Look at his landscapes. There's no doubt these are famous artists. Their work has been proven for decades to be outstanding, to be professional, and to be quite expensive works of art. Let your imagination go wild, like Picasso and Van Gogh. Bring out the artistic side of your photography. Sure, you're going to need special equipment that's going to be about $300, but you'll have this forever, and your art will live forever. I almost forgot. Mention in the comments below if you've ever used an infrared converted camera, if you've used a Hoya R72 infrared filter. Let me know if you have any interest in infrared photography. Or one other benefit about infrared photography is the stunning black and white images in infrared. This one is my favorite black and white. One of the main benefits of infrared photography that's not really discussed much, but has been scientifically proven, infrared photography cuts through haze and fog and atmospheric pollution to give you the most crisp photographs